Welcome back, YouTubers, to another topical video of us, none other than your boys, your favourite two Brits, the British Fist.
Gotcha!
You just headbutted the fucking bum. What the hell are you doing, my friend? I'm Mr. Parkin. This guy that's sitting next to me is none other than the knocked out NJ.
What's up?
What's up indeed? Subscribe or above, like this video and comment your thoughts on this topical video down in the comment section below.
You can contact us in the link in the box below.
I can't believe you headbutted my fist bump, man. That's just disrespectful, that is. I demand respect, and unfortunately by doing that, you didn't give it to me.
Gotcha!
You give it to me again. Do that again.
Gotcha!
That is the ultimate sign of respect here in the YWC. Do the British fist thing. There we go. That's what you do, guys. Make sure you, as NJ would usually say, make sure you contact us on the links in the description box below, including Twitter, Facebook. Terminator NJ still has a Twitter, still has a Facebook, and yeah, there's some interesting stuff coming up with him later. Any other pre-announcements we need to make before we go on to this?
All I can say is that I've said it before, but I'm going to keep saying it for the next few videos, is we've got a Google Plus now. We've done our first video, which went up to 4 hours. We have another one coming probably next month, so tune into that. I'm just letting you beware now.
Yes, indeed. So in this video, we're going to be talking about who we think should win the BFG series. This is basically a culmination of all of our thoughts on the BFG series from the last couple of months. We're going to talk about various different stuff in here. We're going to just go through the current standings, the matches coming through, and who we feel could win or not win the BFG series and our reasons for that. I think the first thing we want to say is get your thoughts on who you think will win the BFG series in the comment section below, and please tell us why. And you know, it seems like TNA have a pretty interesting proposition going into Bound for Glory now, doesn't it? I mean, in my opinion, the BFG series has been done a lot better than last year. And it's really kind of, there's 7 people, in my opinion, you could give a legit claim for winning, which is a hell of a lot more than last year. Again, going against Austin Aries, probably the most interesting character in wrestling today.
Well, with Austin Aries, they definitely brought him up to a point where he's got a good fan base. He's got his chance to become the World Heavyweight Champion, and now he is the champion. So now he's at a place in his career where he should have been, where he should be right now. Yeah,
I mean, they have a potential big match on the card at Bound for Glory with the BFG Series winner versus Austin Aries. That is a potential big main event for TNA. But the question that we're going to be asking here is, who will be the challenger for Austin Aries? That is if Austin Aries is the champion going into Bound for Glory. We have the BFG Series latest standings up here right now. Number 1, we have James Storm with 66 points with 1 match remaining. Number 2, Samoa Joe, 61 points, 2 matches remaining. 3rd is Rob Van Dam with 2 matches remaining. AJ Styles in 4th place with 50 points and 1 match remaining. Joint 5th is Bully Ray and Kurt Angle, both with 1 match remaining. 7th is Mr. Anderson, who's finished now with 47 points. 8th is Jeff Hardy with 42 points, and Daniels, Magnus, Robert E. and Pope are kind of out of this right now. But we have 5 matches left that are going to be on Impact in the next 2 weeks going into No Surrender. James Storm versus RVD. Bully Ray versus RVD, Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles, Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy, and Kurt Angle versus Jeff Hardy. It's going to be an interesting next 2 weeks, isn't it? Considering how close the standings are and the matches we've got and stuff.
The sad thing about this is that the first thing I heard numerous times through that is the fact that Rob Van Dam has a few more matches left and he's 3rd in the table already. So if he gets like a submission move, I don't think he does submissions, or pin, there's a way he can make higher up on the table. I don't really think Rob Van Dam should be where he's at compared to the other wrestlers, who's more of a fan favourite than RVD.
Let's save that for this later on bit in the video, NJ. We're going to the first guy, who number 1 right now is James Storm with 66 points and 1 match remaining. I think it's very simple to say that he will be in the Final 4 at the Bound for Glory series. And I think what will depend on whether he wins this Bound for Glory series or not and going on to face Austin Aries is, have they got a big feud planned with Bobby Roode? And, you know, because he still hasn't won his belt back yet, and you would think that TNA at some point would want to put the belt on James Storm. It's just whether or not they've got bigger plans for him in terms of ending that feud with Roode and maybe giving a big payoff where Storm finally gets the victory over his former Beer Money teammate.
With James Storm, I'm sorry, my opinion for him, there's an opinion at the very beginning where I think they were booking him too strong because of his return, make us believe that he was going to win this Bound for Glory series just so he can go on to face Bobby Roode, or the champion at the time, at Bound for Glory. And then they swerved that round by having Aries become the champ. Aries retained his championship, so now he's going off on the world on his own. James Storm's floating around, probably going to go against Roode, and I think it's really changed the whole what Bound for Glory was going to mean to James Storm and Bobby Roode.
Indeed, and I think, to be honest, we had the complaint going into Bound for Glory that it was getting quite predictable that James Storm was going to win this Bound for Glory series. But I'll say one thing: now Aries hasn't won the belt, it's become a lot less obvious that James Storm is going to win it. We don't really know who is going to win it now, simply because Austin Aries became the champion. And even though it kind of gave a bit less, oomph to the feud with Bobby Roode, it's made Bound for Glory and this Bound for Glory series a little bit more unpredictable, which I do see as a positive, even though I know why not having the belt on a possible James Storm versus Bobby Roode feud was a kind of negative to that aspect.
All I want to say is I'm glad the predictability's gone, but the fact that this year was based not around Austin Aries. Yes, he was the one who was going for the whole year. It was more about Roode and Storm. The fact they've got two big things going in 1 year has obviously made this trouble we have right now. And I think, in a way, it's a good thing, but I just think they've really changed what could have been a possible really big match. And they've now changed it to two biggish matches.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the point is there, will James Storm, will Bound for Glory 2012 be James Storm's moment? I don't think it will. No, I don't think it will. Samoa Joe is in number 2 with 61 points, 2 matches left, so I think we can guarantee he will probably make it to the final 4 in this one. I think the only thing that's making me... There's 2 things, in my opinion, that are making me steer away from Samoa Joe, and that is, 1, they kind of started off that feud with Magnus, which I think could go to a Bound for Glory match. Number 2, he's already faced Austin Aries at Slammiversary, so it wouldn't really be a new match. At least James Storm would be a new match. He would be a good opponent for an Austin Aries, but I see Magnus maybe costing his place in the Bound for Glory series, to go through and win the Bound for Glory series, which is why I'm not thinking Samoa Joe will win it, even though I really think I would love to see him win it.
As much as I do want to see the Magnus Samoa Joe, the fact they've already done it and pretty probably booked, I do want to see it done properly. So in a way, I am looking forward to that possibly happening. But right now, I think Samoa Joe getting back to the main event scene. Yes, TNA may not be thinking he's worthy to be up there where the championship is anymore. It would still be a great match for Austin Aries. So in my opinion, I would love to see the match, but I'm really struggling to see it happening now.
No, so Samoa Joe is not going to win the BFG series, not in my opinion anyway. Rob Van Dam. This is an interesting one because so far we haven't seen him have any involvement in the Aces and Eights. We know how TNA love to push this guy as a top guy, essentially. Rob Van Dam versus Aries would be a first-time match. But there is no way, in my opinion, that Rob Van Dam, lying third with 55 points with 2 matches left, should win the BFG series, especially when the whole focus should be on making a new star, which Rob Van Dam just isn't. But I can see TNA and their wisdom making RVD win. I really can, and that is the thing that annoys me. I can see RVD winning this.
The thing about this is that Rob Van Dam, even though he's got the big name as himself, and TNA and W both treating him the way that they think he deserves to be, which is top guy, the guy that's still going to be seen as a top star. The Bound for Glory is meant to be something that's going to make a big blockbuster match. As much as Rob Van Dam can still do stuff in the ring that puts his body on the line, impressive that way, he's not a guy that much the crowd is behind as much anymore. So we did have Rob Van Dam versus Aries. You've got 2 things to think about. Number 1, will Rob Van Dam do the right thing or want to do the right thing to Aries? Or 2, is it actually going to be as big of a match than it would be if it was Aries versus someone else?
So Rob Van Dam, in my opinion, is a big no-no, even though I could see maybe TNA going there. In number 4 is AJ Styles with 50 points with 1 match left. Now this is an interesting one because AJ Styles, in my opinion, is the perfect choice for a guy like Austin Aries. They teased it on earlier in the year. It's essentially Mr. TNA versus like Mr. Future TNA, I guess. And they've moved him away from the Claire Lynch storyline now, which kind of says to me maybe they are lining up. I mean, he's got that win at the pay-per-view. He's all of a sudden started winning Bound for Glory series matches, apart from that one against Robbie E, of course. So to me, in my opinion, I think this might be set up for AJ Styles to win. I mean, I'm just going to go on a limb here. I know he's only got 1 match left, but I think that they're going to make AJ Styles win this BFG series and face Austin Aries at Bound for Glory, and I would be all for that match, first time.
There's a part of my mind that it's going to make me think that somehow they're going to swerve around another Daniels and AJ match and have one of the next wrestlers we're going to name probably take AJ's place. But thinking of it in the long run, as much as I don't really agree with it, because number 1, even though AJ's had a bit of a bad year thanks to Daniels and the Claire Lynch thing, it would be a big step up. But Mr. TNA, the guy that, as we said before, is going to be a bit like John Cena in the WWE, him versus Austin Aries. Number one, is the second predictable wrestler now after James Storm. So in my opinion, it probably will happen, but I don't want to see it.
AJ Styles predictable in the Bound for Glory series? Are you kidding me?
Pretty much now, because I think after James Storm, the fact that he's Mr. TNA, the wrestler TNA will look up to, want good things to happen to. I think obviously they'll think, right, we still need to treat AJ correctly. Let's do this.
AJ Styles versus Aries of Bound for Glory would be a great match. I would be all for this, so I would say Austin Aries could definitely, not Austin Aries, I would say AJ Styles could definitely win this BFG series. Kurt Angle is in number 5, joint 5th, 48 points with 1 match left. It's going to be quite interesting because we've got AJ Styles with 1 match left on 50 points. Angle and Bully Ray have 1 match left with 48 points. So, you know, Kurt Angle and Bully Ray, we'll go Kurt Angle first. He's involved with this Aces and Eights storyline, which kind of says to me, he may not be involved. But Kurt Angle, a guy like Kurt Angle, who makes stars against Austin Aries, who is a rising star, could be a good Bound for Glory match, even though he has been at the title a lot, and it would kind of be like Kurt Angle going for the title again. Do you know what I mean?
I think the way you look at it is that Kurt Angle, the way he is in the ring, the way he talks about other wrestlers, he would be a good guy to go up against Aries and put on a match that, as we've seen Angle in the past, against like Anderson and various other wrestlers, he can put on really good matches. So if Angle made it, I wouldn't mind it. But I really don't see Angle being at the point. Hopefully they've got other plans for Angle going into Bound for Glory.
Seems like he's part of the Aces and Eights storyline, and they're going to have some kind of War Games match or something involving loads of TNA talent. So me, Kurt Angle, he's not going to be winning the BFG series, even though I'd love to see him go against Aries at some point down the line. Just not a Bound for Glory. In joint 5th, we've got Bully Ray with 48 points, 1 match remaining. By far the best heel in the business right now. I think the thing that will really determine what Bully Ray's status is going to be in TNA is whether or not he's signed that contract. Yeah, and if he hasn't, then he's not going to have any chance in this.
Well, sadly, it's still determined in news reports that he hasn't signed either a Steve on, which is the sad thing. But the way I see this, because this is week after the show just gone, it's Bully Ray could still be a part of the Ace and Eights in a positive way. So maybe they're going to help him progress, unless they're going to eventually attack him. If they're working alongside Bully Ray, there's a chance that Bully Ray can go higher up. And plus, if they are going to go down the stupid route of AJ and Daniels again, I think Bully Ray could quite easily overtake AJ in point by AJ losing his next match and Bully Ray winning it, and then Bully Ray going on. I know you've seen the feud, but I think they didn't really do it long enough.
They did it for 2 months.
2 months, but I think Bully Ray, with the help of Ace and Eight versus Austin Aries, who's also got a top of the Ace and Eight, would be a perfect match there.
I can see where you're coming from, but I can't help but think that this will not be the case. Like I said, why would TNA put any creative effort behind a guy who hasn't signed a contract for the company yet? It's really strange how they've made him win a couple of matches now and they put him up there. It seems like they're doing it to make him happy, but the determination for this will be whether or not he's signed a contract, and if he doesn't, well, he's not going to be part of it. He's also a big part of this Aces and Eights storyline, and they've already feuded and faced each other at Sacrifice, where Austin Aries went over on his way to becoming a big star that he is. So, in my opinion, I don't see Bully Ray winning the Bound for Glory series. He was also in the final last year. We kind of forget that, don't we?
I kind of like to see him, maybe not winning the Bound for Glory series, but I'd like to see him, in my opinion, because of my thoughts on AJ right now, I wouldn't mind seeing him in the Final 4, but I think, like I said earlier, with their whole love for AJ will probably overtake Bully Ray.
In 7th place, we had Mr. Anderson, but I don't think he's going to be going through now because he's finished and he went for a pinfall instead of a submission, but there we go. So that leaves us Jeff Hardy. In 8th place, he's got 2 matches remaining, so a possible 20 points there. He's got 42 points at the moment. I think Jeff Hardy, this will be really garner mixed reactions from people watching this because, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Jeff Hardy versus Austin Aries. Do I think it's too soon to have Jeff Hardy winning a Bound for Glory series? Yes. But they've gone on record saying that Hogan is a massive fan of Jeff Hardy, and if there's one person that is going to really influence something in TNA, it's going to be Hulk Hogan. Remember the amount he put Austin Aries over on his way to winning that belt?
I know this is a bad way of looking at it because it's all about how they win their matches, but Jeff Hardy's a face, Aries is a face. It's a clash of the faces, and I don't think, as much as Jeff Hardy is over and could be a crowd cheering happiness match, I really can't see Jeff Hardy being someone that TNA would want to build up to be a opponent for Aries.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with a babyface versus babyface match. If they're both over, it works. I mean, look at Hogan, Warrior, Rock, Austin, Cena, Rock, etc. So Cena, Batista could be another one. There's no problem with a babyface versus babyface match, but I think with Jeff Hardy's involvement in the Aces and Eights angle and the fact that he's so far behind and he's still facing guys like Bully Ray and Kurt Angle, I would think it would be another big opponent for Aries if they did it. But Jeff Hardy, again, is a guy who I do not feel they will be win this BFG series, even though the one person in the company that could really make it work for him would be Hulk Hogan, as he is a massive Jeff Hardy mark. We know that. So there is still that small possibility that he could win it, even though I don't feel he will.
I don't see Jeff Hardy, no.
I think one thing I do want to point out here, actually, is how TNA have kind of misused Magnus. Because he's not really involved now. I mean, I think this could have been a real standout moment for Magnus, maybe making the Final Four or something like that. And I think the fact that he's in 10th, 9th place with 20-odd points, to me was kind of ridiculous, considering especially that they were considering him being some kind of dark horse. I think that was a bit of a bad move there by TNA, in my opinion.
When we talk about Magnus, the fact that he was siding with someone as big as Samoa Joe, they've got a possible feud going. It's made him still look like a big deal, but if they had him higher up in the Bound for Glory, they could possibly have him as a future main eventer, which would be good for his career. But I think, again, mistreating him in a way, but maybe he'll grow on the side of Samoa Joe.
You guys give your thoughts in the comment section below who you think is going to win the Bound for Glory series, and please tell us why in the comment section, and I will now hand you over to none other than NJ.
Well, thank you very much, people. Hope you will enjoy the Go Home show and the pay-per-view itself. And from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ, share your thoughts on this series and the win in the comments below. And until next time, YouTubers, goodbye.